Hey everyone. Alright, so we have another video response for a question from Phoenix. She asks, what's your biggest career failure and how did you learn from it? So, my biggest career failure wasn't web development specific. It was how I transitioned out of my job to pursue web development. So I quit a full-time job and I saved up about, just not enough, but I saved up a bit of money to move back to my hometown where I knew things were much cheaper. And I also knew if I did get stuck or I got into a rut, I had family to help me out, which is not a bad thing. It can be a very good thing, but it wasn't for me. And let me tell you why. When I came back, I got comfortable because I always knew I had family to fall back on. And so I quit a full-time job that was paying bills, and I knew my previous job wasn't what I wanted to do. I was an Aquatics Director. I worked full-time, and I definitely worked more than 40 hours, but I didn't work so much that I couldn't come home and study. I couldn't go through the treehouse courses. I couldn't build personal projects. I was stressed when I came home, but I could easily, given more time, transition into web development if I just stuck out my old job. Now, here's why it was a mistake for me to come back to my hometown. Because I knew that I always had help in my hometown, that I could get off easy, I got lazy and I got too comfortable. And so what I was doing, and I didn't really realize it because I thought, I am so stressed, how am I going to make this career transition? I need more time, I work too much, and I just came up with all of these different excuses. But when I look back on it, I was very motivated to come home and learn web development because it was my opportunity into a career that I really wanted to do versus what I currently was doing. And so I should have used that stressful situation to motivate me to put my available time into making that career transition. There is just a lot of growth that comes from not just kind of being on your own, right? Just being forced to just make things work. If you really want that career transition and you have bills to pay, Chicago, well, it was north of Chicago, those bills were much more expensive, but I was paying them. And so when I moved back to my hometown, I didn't have as big of bills, and even if those failed, like I said, I had a backing. So my biggest career failure was not sticking with my last job, which would have continued to help me grow, which would have continued to build really good habits that I could take with me into my web development career. So instead, I built a lot of lazy habits because I had a fallback. I could always move in with my cousin, and the rent was extremely cheap. He was definitely willing to take me in. But because I had that fallback, I didn't put as much time as I should have learning web development. I didn't put as much time into building my personal projects. And eventually, I had a part-time job just because I enjoyed it. It was actually a swim instructor job, and I would put maybe 4 hours, if I was lucky, into a day of learning how to code, and I barely put any time into applying for positions. I had all the time in the world, and I put so little effort. Compared to now, I come home, and then I'm pretty much booked until about a half an hour before I go to sleep because I have aspirations to continue previous ventures, and I want to kind of explore becoming an influencer and entrepreneurship. And so I put more time into that kind of stuff per week than I did learning web development when I went back to my hometown and got really comfortable. So again, just to re-emphasize, the biggest mistake I made was this is actually, I'm going to turn this into kind of the advice I want to give you. If you are making that career transition and you are paying the bills and you do have spare time when you come home, take advantage of that time. I've met a lot of aspiring developers, and the hungriest developers usually get that position first. The developers that have families to support, the developers that have bills to pay, that want something better for themselves and the people around them, they usually, they put the effort in. So I think the biggest mistake was just getting lazy and not just just getting more comfortable and taking the easy route into trying to make the career transition happen. If I could go back, I would stay in Illinois. I was stressed. It was a management job. I liked it. It was just a stressful job, but it was definitely helping me grow, and it was helping me just keep my cool in certain situations. And it was just helping me just mature and trying to lead other people. There were a lot of challenges that came with that, that I gave up when I went back to my hometown. So I would stay at my old job, and I encourage you to do the same if you're making that career transition. I know it's tough, and I know it can be very stressful, and I know when you really want to make that transition, when you want to make it happen, sometimes what goes through your mind is, let's do whatever it takes to make it happen. I'm going to give myself all the time in the world to make that happen, even if I have to quit my job. Before you quit your job, give up personal things. Give up Netflix. Give up going out on the weekends. Give up those things first. Probably hear that horn in the background. Welcome to Chicago. But give up as much as you can without giving up the things that are truly helping you grow. That's it.
I've been cold to you, but you want nothing to do with me, so hopefully we'll coexist in time.